What's going on YouTube? It's good to see everyone back. So today we have another drone video. We're going to be taking a look at this drone I purchased at Target, and it is made by a company by the name of SkyViper. It is their Journey SE model. This is going to be an unboxing and quick flight video. So let's take a look at this drone and see how it does and see if I recommend this. So here's the front of the box. And as you can see, it says live view camera, position hold, return to home, a nice picture of the drone in the air. Here's a picture of the remote holding a phone. Ages 12 plus, and it's their Journey SE model, as I mentioned. Pro video drone, stream and record, high def 720p. Underneath that it says GPS nav, stage 2 autopilot. Okay. It says return to home, flyaway prevention, and position hold. So that's the front of the box. Let's take a look at the back. Here's the back. Alright, kind of a picture of the drone demonstrating some satellites, giving it some kind of information. Basically what it says in the front. Hands-free position hold, return to home, flyaway prevention. And on the right side of this box, it shows some of the different models that SkyViper offers. And I do have the dash, and it is a great little micro drone. Works great. And it seems that this Journey SE is their top model. So we'll see how this does. Okay, here's some information for you if you guys want to stop and read it. Hopefully you guys can see it well. And again, another picture of the remote holding a phone. Okay, so you're going to have to download a app to see their camera through your phone. So that's the back of the box. Here's one of the sides. Not much on this side. Just another picture of the drone. Here's the bottom. Requires 3 AAAs. I'm guessing that's going to be for the remote. And it says here, increase your battery flight time with a second battery sold separately. So you can buy more batteries for this drone. That's pretty nice. Here's this side of the box. Not much. And here's the top. Small bit of information right there. Okay. Very nice. So I've had this for a couple of days. I haven't opened it up. So we're gonna open this up together and see what's in the box and go from there. And I paid just over $100 for this. I think it was like 105 something, some loose change. I'm not sure. I'm not 100%, but it was around there. So it wasn't exactly cheap, but hopefully this does pretty good, and I can recommend this one. And like I mentioned, I own another SkyViper product, and the other product that I have seems to work perfectly, so hopefully this does the same. So I'm going to set you guys down. We're going to open this box and see what's inside. Got a knife. Okay, so we're gonna cut the tape. 2 pieces of clear tape. I'm going to try to show you guys when I pull this out, see what it looks like. Here we go. Alright, there we go. So this is inside the box. There's nothing inside the box. Everything seems to be tied down to this part of the box. So this is what that looks like. Okay, so we're gonna first start off by opening this small box. Okay, first thing I ran into, instructions. Wow, it's pretty big. And it's double-sided. And as I mentioned in my other videos, you should always read your instruction manual before you take flight with your new toy. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay, keep going here. Piece of tape on the box here. So first baggie seems to be a battery and a cord, charging cord. It's a nice looking battery. Let's open this up. Take a look at the battery first. And that is a nice looking battery. It's a 3.7 volt, 1200 milliamp battery. So it's a decent sized battery. It's got some weight. So it's a LiPo battery, so you got to be careful with these. The wire seems to be of good quality. And that's the end of the plugger. It's a nice battery. Here's the charging cord. And this is one of those charging cords that may have a light inside this little end here. Okay, cord's pretty long. Let's get this charging. The end of the charging cord has got a little slot. It only goes on one way, so make sure you guys try to put this on correctly. It goes on nice and snug. But before I plug this in, I am going to time this. So let me get a timer going. So the battery is charging and the end of the cord is red. We'll see how long that takes. Got the stopwatch going. So this other bag has some extra propellers, small screwdriver, that's nice, and some extra screws. And I'm guessing those screws are going to be for the propeller. It goes in there. Okay. One thing I do want to mention is that these propellers are marked on the bottom. So if you break one on the drone, just make sure you replace it with the right propeller. So this one has an A on it, and for example, this other one here has a B. So if you go to replace one of the propellers, just make sure you put the correct one back. I'm gonna put this other bag to the side here. So let's get the remote out. And that remote is held by some plastic straps. And I'm going to be cutting those with my knife. try to show you guys. And here's the remote. It's a pretty nice size. It's not small. So you got 2 sticks that operate in any direction. You got a launch and land button, normal and sport button. There's another button in the center here. It shows a little house and a maybe return to home button. And we'll clear it up to see what this button here does, but I'm sure it's the return to home button. There's an on and off button in the center of the remote. And there seems to be 2 LEDs above the home button. One of the lights says search, which is the red one. So I'm guessing that's the binding LED. And the other one says a lock. So I'm guessing that's the GPS light. And we'll look into that once we get going here. So that's all the buttons on the face of the remote. And on the top, we have 2 buttons on the left side here. The top says video, and the bottom one says stunt. Here's the back of the remote. Here's the battery compartment. We're gonna open this up and put some AAAs in there. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so I'm gonna open up this battery compartment. Okay. There we go, AAAs, 3 of them. Thank you, Amazon. Whoop. Now I'm going to turn the remote on and see what happens. Wow. A lot of noise and some cool LEDs going. That's pretty cool. We're going to turn this off and set this aside. Okay, so I'm guessing you got to hold it down to turn it off. There you go. So the next thing I'm going to take out is, I'm guessing, is a cell phone holder. Okay, it's got some spring action. Let's pop in the remote. So the remote has 2 spots where I think these clips line up. Let's see. Yep. That clicks in, as you can see. Okay, so the clip feels nice and snug. Doesn't feel like it's gonna pop out. Okay, on the front of the clip here, there's a sticker telling you to download the app for the drone. So we'll do that later and I'll show you guys how that looks like. But I did want to show you guys a phone going in the clip. I have an iPhone 13 and let's see what it fits like. And it fits just fine. Okay, doesn't feel like it's gonna pop off. The clip is kind of wiggling, as you see here. But again, it doesn't feel like it's gonna pop off. It feels like it's in there, so that's a plus. So we're gonna set the remote aside. And the next thing to come out is gonna be the drone. So the drone is held in by 2 more strings of plastic. I'm gonna cut those. Oh. There's one. Oh, 2. And here it is, guys. It's actually got some decent weight to it. Not bad. I'm gonna move this box out of the way. Give us some more room to look at this drone. Okay, so here's the drone. So on the back side of this drone, there's a compartment for a battery. All right, and I'll show you guys how to pop the battery in a minute. And on the back side of this drone, there is a compartment for an SD card. All right, so we got an LED back here also. Here's some vents. All right. And on the front of the drone, we have a camera. Now, this does tilt. Okay, you can move it up and down. And it stays put. Feels like it stays put pretty good. Alright, so it's a pretty big camera. Kind of bigger than I thought it was going to be. Alright, so I see some LEDs on the right and left side of the drone here on the bottom. And they're green. And here are the motors or propellers. Okay, here's a motor. It's not directly underneath the propellers, to the side. So like I said, it's got some good weight. And the plastic doesn't feel cheap. Actually feels like a pretty good plastic. Feels like it kind of bends. And it's not too thin. That's a plus. Let me measure it for you guys. So from end to end, we got 8 inches. And width, we got 9-ish. So it's a decent size. I'm going to compare it to something for you guys so you guys get an idea how big it is. Okay, so I got an Aeronautics VA 1000. So that's how they look side by side. The SkyViper definitely looks bigger. And that's what that looks like, one overlapping the other. The Aeronautics seems to have a bigger body. But as far as wingspan goes, the SkyViper Journey SE is definitely bigger. Alright, so let's keep going. So my next step is to download the app as they want you to do. So I got my camera open, and all you have to do is get that in the frame. Click on that little square, and it'll bring the app up for you. And that should be pretty straightforward. And there we go. That's going. That was very easy. I like it when these companies make it easier for you to find the apps. Okay, we're going to open this up and see what this looks like. When you open up the app, that's the first picture you see. So I can't go any further, so I'm going to leave this be. I'm going to close this out. And at this point, we're just waiting for the battery to fully charge. As you see, the red LED light is still glowing. It actually is hard to see from one side. So at this point, we're still waiting for the battery to charge. One thing I will say about this cord is that the LED is kind of hard to see from one side of the charging cord. If I flip that cord around, you can see the LED a lot more. So I'm just charging it on my charging station here, so it's got to stay like that. But just know that when you go to charge, just face this to where you can see that LED a little better, just so you can see it from far. So we're going to let that charge. I'm going to go through the manual, and if I see something in the manual that needs to be pointed out, I will show you guys. So I'll be back in a little bit. While we wait for the battery to charge all the way, what I'm going to do is let you guys know a couple things I did want to point out in this instruction manual. One thing that I did want to point out is that the manual is very clear, very easy to understand. They make everything very visual. so that's a plus. And they also give you a 800 number. So for whatever reason, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, they give you an 800 number you can call. Also, they make it very clear where you can go get another battery if you choose to buy another one. You go to their website and they give you an item number. While I was reading through this manual, one thing I did notice is that the remote doesn't have any trim buttons. So this drone must trim itself. We'll shortly find out once we go fly this. But yes, the remote doesn't have any kind of trim that you can adjust. So that middle button that I pointed out with the little house on it is a return to home button. So let's say, for example, you started off at a certain spot outside, you go up in the air, you fly around a little bit, and for whatever reason, if you want to just use a button to bring it back and land, you press the button, it'll come back and land within that area where you started off. So that's a nice feature. So there's one more thing I do want to bring up before I put these instructions away, is that there is a high performance mode, and if you choose to put it in that mode, you have to follow its directions. I will show that once I go to fly it, just to see the difference between a more experienced flight and a beginner flight. So at this point, I'm just waiting for the battery to charge. Once the battery is charged all the way, we will go from there. So, all right, guys. So the battery is all charged up. So when the battery is all charged up, the end of that cord lights up green, and that took just a little over an hour and 6 minutes. Now that wasn't with a completely dead battery. That was just with the battery that came out of the box. So I'm not sure how low it was. What I will do for you guys is charge this up after we're done using it and show you guys how long that takes to charge. I'm gonna unplug this. I only stood this up to make it easier for you guys to see that green LED. Yeah, let me unplug this and we'll keep going. So the first thing we're gonna do is put the battery in the drone. So to get the compartment open, you got to, there's a little cover here that holds the battery in place. What you got to do is push forward and pull up, and that opens that up. If you try to just pull up, it will open, but it sounds very aggressive and it might just crack that plastic. So push forward, up, and then you can slide the battery in. And when you put the battery in, you want the cord facing out and to the left. Slide that in like so. Push that down. That's good to go. So then, to turn this on, you have to plug this in, and that turns it on. So what you want to do is just, I'm not sure if you guys can see, but that's got a little slot that's on top, and that corresponds with the end of the battery cable. And there you go. It's on. I am going to turn the remote on. So that stopped making noise, and that's still trying to find the GPS. Okay guys, so I'm gonna do things a little different this time. What I plan to do is to take this outside, because it is a GPS drone. So I'm thinking this is maybe a true outdoors type of flyer. I'm actually gonna go to a park and give this a try. Okay guys, so we made it to the park, as you guys can see, and let's get this started. First thing I want to do is hook up to the camera on the drone with the app, and let's see how smooth that goes. So let's start up the drone, and there is no on-off switch, so the way you start this up is by plugging this in. But before I do so, I do want to get an SD card in the slot, so let's do that real quick. Let's try it with the logo facing down, just like so, and that works perfect. So the SD card's in the slot. Let's try to start this up. All right, that's going. My next step is clicking on the app, turning on the remote. It wants me to connect to the drone's Wi-Fi, so I'm going to look for that. Here it is, SkyViper. Okay, once you see the SkyViper drone Wi-Fi, just click on it, and the password is SkyViper. Let's see if this works. And that worked. So let's go back to the app. Okay, here we go. So I see a little map of where I am. That's very cool. I see a timer, and I see a not connected little box there. I'm not sure what that means. I see a compass, battery status, GPS strength signal, a satellite with 0. I'm not sure what that means. A little camera reel, FPV, little circle, button, record button, and a camera button. So I do see a picture of the table at the moment. Let's see if it, yep, I can see live, so it is streaming. So let's take this up in the air. Let me see if I press record at the moment, if it'll start recording. Okay, so I see that it's recording. And let's take off and fly around. Since I do only have one battery, I will try to show all the features the drone has. As you saw, I did turn the remote on. It was looking for a satellite while I was trying to figure out the app, and it did lock onto a satellite, but I don't see that on the app. So let's just take off and see what happens here. So there is no lock or unlock for the propellers. It should just take off as soon as I touch the stick. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's not doing anything. We're gonna press the launch button. Not doing much. Okay, so it's not doing anything at the moment. So I'm gonna pause this for a second, reset this. So I've been messing with this drone a little bit. What the instructions say to do is to plug in the drone first and then start up the remote. I figured that if you start up the remote first and then work with the drone, it actually works better. Let me start up this remote. What you want to do is wait for that. So it's searching for the drone. You plug in the drone. Okay, so it found it. So at this point, you should be able to take off. Okay, that worked. Let's bring it back down. Let's try to use the app. It wants me to hook up to the Wi-Fi. Let's go look for that. Hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Let's go back to the app. So that still says not connected, 0%, 0, and everything is the same. So no difference there. Let's see if we can take off. So we took off. Let's see if we can record. We're recording. Okay, so when you take off, this thing is in default mode, which is the normal mode. And as you can see on the remote, it says normal and it's lit up with the LED. So let's see how high we can go here. I'm not gonna try to go real high, but somewhat pretty high. Seems to be doing fine. It's not that windy of a day. Seems to be doing good. Kind of surprised how good it's doing. I'm gonna turn up the skill level. I'm gonna put it on sport. Oh yeah, a lot better. For me, it's easier to fly. Okay. This is actually going a lot better than I thought it was gonna be going. Very nice. And as you can see, it stays put where you leave it. So I'm kind of surprised it's doing this well. I'm bringing it down. It doesn't come down the fastest. I'm trying to be really careful with this new drone. I'm not sure how it will react to any input, so I'm trying to be real careful. But so far, so good. So I'm going to bring it back. Land it and use the auto takeoff button. See how good that works. Okay, so here we go. That worked perfectly. Okay, I'm gonna use the land button to see how good it lands by itself. Let's try this again. Land. Doing great. There we go. That worked out perfect again. So we're gonna take off manually. So all you gotta do is just push up. Okay, control a little bit of input on my right stick. I wanted to just kind of go forward. This thing is doing actually really good. There's some wind, so it's doing a great job of keeping its position in the air. Let's see what happens if I go a little higher. Doing fine. I'm gonna do a full circle to the right. Not the fastest circle, actually kind of slow. I'm gonna make a circle to the left. That seems to be a lot faster. I'm not sure what that's about. So I'm bringing it down. Oh, as you saw, it came down real fast at that very end and it hit the ground, but it seems to be okay. I did try to avoid that from happening, but it didn't respond to my input, so I'm not sure what that was all about. Okay, I'm going to try to use the return to home button. Let's see what happens. Push the return to home button and it's just going up in the air. I'm not sure what that was all about. I was able to cancel the order by pushing my left stick down. So let's try this again. Launch. Okay. I'm gonna use the auto return. Okay, up in the air. Let's see how far it goes. I don't want it to get lost. I will stop it if I notice that it's just kind of doing its own thing. Yeah, I'm afraid to let it do its own thing because there's a lot of trees around here and I don't want it to get stuck in a tree. So the return to home button isn't the greatest. It kind of does its own thing when you try to use it. As you can see there, I think the whole time it was trying to return to home, but for whatever reason it had a hard time doing so. So again, it doesn't turn the fastest to the right for whatever reason. It turns faster to the left than the right. As you can see, we have a low battery. The drone is starting to land itself. I'm gonna try to keep it in the air as long as I can to see what happens here. There is a timer on the app and it's showing that we've been up for about 8 minutes. But I want to see how long I can push this low battery and if it'll just land itself or what it'll do. So it's coming down. Nope, still up in the air, trying to keep its position. And that's it. Okay, so what did we learn on this quick flight here? We learned that the return to home button doesn't exactly work. I'm sure if you give it its own time, it'll eventually land. We also learned that you have to start up the remote before you start up the drone for it to connect correctly. We also learned that some of the features that you see on the screen with the app don't exactly work. And we also learned that flight time was about 10 minutes or so. The battery's dead. Let's get back home. Let's charge this up. I'm gonna show you guys how long that takes and we'll go from there. All right, so I made it back home. I'm about to start charging this battery and I got a timer going. So you guys are gonna see how long this battery takes to charge. I propped this up against the wall like so you guys can see the end of the cord a little better and see when it's done charging. Let me set you guys down and I'm gonna time lapse this battery charge. What I wanted to show you guys, when I use the app, as you guys saw, none of the information works. So I'm gonna try to update this app and see if that helps. So let's plug in the drone. Again, this is the way SkyViper wants you to do it. Start up the drone. Start up the remote. I'm going to hook up to the Wi-Fi on the drone. There we go. Okay, now we're in the app. And like I mentioned before, I do see a little map of the area that I am in. So it somewhat does connect to some kind of GPS, but at the bottom here it says not connected, and none of this information up here or anywhere else works. So let me see if I can find a way to update this Wi-Fi or GPS. So it seems like the Wi-Fi is up to date. Let's try the GPS. So I did this before off camera, and that's all it basically does, is it'll go up to 10% and do nothing else. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Let me see if I can jump off the Wi-Fi on the SkyViper here and try to do it without being connected to the drone and see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I jumped off the Wi-Fi on the SkyViper. Let's see what happens here. So it won't let you update unless you're connected to the drone with Wi-Fi. My next step is trying to see if I can call SkyViper and see if they can help me out. Let me do that, see what they say. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, guys, so I got the phone number right there. I'm gonna give them a call. Let's see what happens here. Not good. So I think that number is a dud. Let's try this again. Nope. So that number they give no longer exists. So that's not a good thing. Let's go online to see if their website even exists. So I googled the website. Let's see what happens. So this comes up, and let's just see if we can even order anything. Replacement parts. And that's kind of funny. So they want you to click here for replacement parts. Okay, I see some stuff here. Here's a Journey. It's not the SE model, but I do see that you can order some parts on this drop down window. And let's just try to click on one of these parts they're trying to sell. So this is a smaller battery that they have. It's a 650 milliamp battery. I'm not sure what happens when you go to try to order this, if it'll let you go all the way, or if it even shows up at your doorstep, and who you call to try to get your money back if it doesn't. So this is the first page we ran into. Let's see if there's another 800 number we can call. So I do not see another number. They do have a search bar where you can maybe search for a question and answer type of scenario, but you're pretty much on your own. Again, I'm not sure how reliable this website may be, or if you even order any parts if they show up. So that's something to keep in mind. One last thing I want to do is to go on Amazon and see if we can find any kind of replacement parts there. And the only reason I'm looking for replacement parts is because you are paying $100 for this. Alright, so at a quick search, I do see some stuff. And again, this is just at a quick search. I do see that you can get replacement battery packs. I'm not sure if these are exact fit, but I do see that in the description. It does say SkyViper drone, and it'll give you some models that it's compatible with. I also see some gear parts that popped up. I'm not exactly sure if this fits the SkyViper Journey, but I don't see the other half of the gear set. Let me just show you what I mean by that. So that little gear that you see on the screen is the one that's attached to the actual motor, but the one that drives the propeller, the bigger one here, is not displayed anywhere on this screen. So again, that's something to keep in mind. So my next step is going to be flying this outside, and again trying the stunt button and seeing if I can push this button here and make the camera start recording and turn it on. Again, I'm going to start this up the way I found best, and that is starting up the remote and then plugging in the drone. And I put the wire to the right side. It does make it harder for you to plug. I just wanted to see if it was possible. I'm going to put it down on the ground. Okay, so the remote stopped beeping, so I'm gonna look for the app and set that up. So here we go. I'm gonna take off manually. Again, I'm gonna try to keep it low because it's very windy outside. It's actually doing a great job fighting the wind. I'm gonna try to use the button to record. Okay, I do want to show you guys that the GPS is still not locked, and it's been trying to find a satellite, but it's not doing so. It still lets you fly. So I'm recording at the moment, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of wind. I'm gonna try to use a stunt button, see what happens. Okay, that worked. Now I just pressed the button and it did its own thing. I'm gonna try it again. Okay, that worked again. So what you gotta do is press the stunt button, and with the left stick, choose a direction you want to do the flip in. I'm gonna press the stunt button and try to do a back one. Here we go. Okay, that didn't exactly go back. It went to the side for whatever reason. I'm trying to bring this drone back to me. There's just a lot of wind, but it's doing a great job of keeping its position in the air. I'm gonna try to do a back flip again, see what happens. Okay, so it went down, and that's only because the wind pushed it down, and when it went down, the propeller stopped. So let's take off again. Again, I'm not trying to fly it real high. Very windy outside. but it does really good flying outdoors on a windy day. I'm very surprised how good it's actually flying. As a regular flyer, I think this drone does pretty good outdoors. One more feature I did want to show you guys. Let's say, for example, this drone hits the ground upside down. All the propellers will stop. That is a nice feature, especially when the gears are exposed and facing down in the grass. The last thing you want to do is catch something within the gears and strip those gears. So let's take this back inside and I'll sum up what I think about this drone. So what do I think about this SkyViper Journey SE? I definitely think it's toy grade, and I'm trying to be fair with all its good points and its bad points. To me, this is a very good outdoor flyer. It was a very windy day, and it did a great job fighting the wind. Now, as far as the camera does an okay job. The resolution isn't the best, but it does work. I wish the app was a little better, but it does allow you to see what's going on through the camera, and you can click on the little camera symbol and take pictures. And as far as battery life goes, about 10 minutes or so is an okay time, but you definitely need more than one battery. Charge time is an hour and a half-ish, so that's not too bad. Okay guys, so do I recommend this SkyViper Journey SE? And my answer to that would be yes. I know it's not perfect. Let me try to explain why I like it so much. And there's two main reasons. First reason is that this drone is a great outdoor flyer. Both times that I took it outside were very windy, and it did a great job staying up in the air. So that's one reason. The second reason would have to be that this drone is very easy to fly. Now, as I mentioned before, this drone doesn't have any trim buttons. And at first, I thought, well, this is going to be a bad flyer. It's going to be all over the place. But it's actually the opposite. It's very easy to fly. You take it up in the air and you never feel like it needs to be trimmed out. I guess another one I can bring up is the camera. This camera does a pretty good job. I know it's not high resolution, but it works pretty good with their app. Their app is pretty easy to figure out. It's pretty straightforward. And as you guys saw, some of the app's features didn't work correctly, but it never crashed. And while using the camera feature, it records to an SD card flawlessly, which is a huge plus. If you guys want to record, this thing will do it every time. I actually learned that when you don't use an SD card in the drone, it'll send a feed to record to your phone, and it does a pretty good job. Let me show you guys. This is a video that was shot down to my phone, and my phone recorded what the drone was looking at. Now, this is a video, it's not just a picture, as you guys can see. And it did a pretty good job. So, again, I know this thing's not perfect. I know that you may have some trouble finding parts for it, but it's such a good outdoor flyer that it's hard to frown upon. I tried my best to capture my experience with this drone. I hope it shows. So I just want to thank everybody for watching. If I missed a feature, I apologize. Please put it in the comment section if you have any questions. Don't be shy to ask questions. This is your channel, and I'm here to help out. So thank you guys again, and you guys have a great day.